Okay, today we're gonna make some kimchi. Clearly, what I consider the national dish of Korea. Now, obviously, kimchi is not a main meal, but it is a side dish, and essentially, it's a side dish that accompanies every single kind of main meal, whether it's meat, rice, soup, noodles, I don't care what it is, kimchi will be part of it. Basically, it is a fermented cabbage, Napa cabbage, or some people call it Chinese cabbage. Now, Koreans have been enjoying kimchi for thousands of years, but lately, and fortunately, non-Koreans have finally discovered how delicious kimchi is, and not only the deliciousness of kimchi, but the health benefits. According to some research, fermented kimchi has the highest probiotics, the beneficial colon bacteria. So, forget about the Greek yogurt. Ounce per ounce, fermented kimchi has tons more beneficial bacteria. Anyway, so let's get to it. To make kimchi, you need a Napa cabbage, decent size. This is on the large side. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to cut this. Now, don't worry about washing this, because after brining it, you're going to be washing it very carefully. So at this point, you don't have to worry about it. So cut it into 4 quarters, like this. Okay. And cut that then into there, and like this. Okay. Now, if you are making what we call pogi kimchi or tong kimchi, you actually use it like this. You're gonna basically brine and season this in this shape, okay? And that's what traditional Korean kimchi is made. You all heard of how Koreans bury their kimchi, underground over the winter, and this is a kind of kimchi. You have to make the seasoning separately, and then you have to stuff, each layer with that stuffing. But that's not what we're gonna make. We're gonna make what we call mak kimchi. Mak kimchi means, it's simpler to make. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna basically chop this big squares like this. And that all goes into this big brining bowl and mixing bowl. So that goes like this. I'm going to do the same thing. So like that. It's a lot simpler. You don't have to deal with the brining the entire quarters and having to stuff each individual layers. But in October, every October, this is a huge celebration. In Korea, all the ladies of the village will get together, and then they use this cabbage that have just been harvested and make kimchi for the entire winter. Because back then, we didn't have refrigeration, so they had to make it and bury it underground so it doesn't freeze, and that had to basically last the entire winter. Even though they all have refrigerators, now it's because of tradition and culture, they're still being done. Anyway, so once you have like this, it's pretty decent amount. I'm going to use generous amount of salt, like that. Now you gotta taste this, okay? Don't make it too salty, nor don't make it too, non-salty, okay? You gotta be reasonably right. So I'm gonna add some water, maybe 3 cups, 4 cups, like this. This is 2 cups. Add 2 more cups. Let's see. Maybe I'll use a little bit more. Again, just basically after you dissolve all the salt, taste it. Let's get this all nicely mixed and dissolved. Okay? Okay, so at the bottom is the salt water. Let's see. Yeah, that's reasonable. That's about right. I think I used about maybe half a cup of salt, maybe more. Okay. So this is it. So you're gonna leave this like this for about 4 to 6 hours, and maybe every hour or two, if you have a chance, and go ahead and turn it over like this. Okay, so all sides are evenly seasoned. And once it's after about 46 hours, you rinse it really carefully, rinse off all the excess salt, and then I'll show you how to make the actual kimchi. Okay, so now the Napa cabbage has been seasoned for about 3 hours in a brine solution. I basically rinsed it real well 3-4 times to get rid of any excess salt and drained it. So now we're ready to mix all the ingredients. So here is the cabbage, and this is sort of sliced green onion. I would say about, it was one bunch, so maybe 5 or 6 stalks. Okay, cut into about 2 inches length. So that all goes in there. Don't worry about the quantity of green onions. You know, really it doesn't make that much difference. So I have about here, about 7 cloves of garlic. Again, that doesn't make any difference. So you got to really crush these things really thin. And you know, again, I have my trusted cleaver. So that's done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to put over 7 of them. Okay? 7. Okay. Thinly 5 slices of ginger. Now don't put too much ginger because it does change the taste. I would say about 5 peeled slices of ginger would be good enough. Again, smack it, okay? So get it all crushed. Like this. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so once that's done, next goes pepper powder. Now for kimchi, you gotta use coarse ground pepper powder. You cannot use finely powdered. Okay, so I would say, depending on your taste, I don't know exactly how much. Like this heaping spoonful, I would say about 3 or 4. 1, 2, 3. And I'll say 4. I may put 1 more if later on, depending after I mix it, depending on what it looks like. About a tablespoonful of sugar. Okay, just a regular white sugar, like that. Okay. That goes in, and now we have to discuss this particular ingredient. This is salted fermented shrimp, baby shrimp, called 새우젓. And this is extremely salty. You use very small amount, I would say about half a teaspoonful perhaps, because this is extremely fishy. Having said that, once it gets mixed into the kimchi, it actually, you can't really taste it. Without this, I found that the kimchi doesn't taste like real kimchi, so you probably need to use this, okay? You don't have to buy this big jar when you go to Korean market, but they do sell a smaller jar. And this kind of a big jar would last me probably 3-4 years at least, as much kimchi as I make. So this would be about, I would say like this much. Okay, that goes in. Okay. And that's essentially because it's so salty, instead of salt, I use that to season further. Okay. So that's it. So the next step is manual labor. Okay. Just use your hand, you know, make sure it's clean, and you just mix them up. And keep mixing until the thing becomes nice, color turns. Okay. It's already beginning to smell like kimchi. Okay. And as you mix, the color is going to turn from dark red to nice bright red, which is what your kimchi to be. Okay. So here, I need to see a little bit more color, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add one more spoonful of pepper. Okay? There you go. And continue to mix. Okay? So, and once it's all mixed, make sure you taste it. If it's not salty enough, you may want to add a little bit more salt. Either that fermented shrimp, or you can just get a little bit of sea salt. And my guess is this is going to be about right. Okay? But I taste it anyway. So there you have it, right there. This is kimchi, just like that. Fresh made kimchi. Let me taste one. Okay, this is good. So, how you eat this? You can eat it just like this. It's ready to be consumed. In fact, my family really likes this fresh, like this. Now, I, as like most other Koreans, would like to have this fermented few days so that it begins to turn slightly acidic, sour. That's what we like to eat it. So if you want that, if you wanted to keep it fresh, then you put this in a jar and it goes immediately into the refrigerator to sort of delay fermentation. If you like a little bit more sour taste, what you want to do is put it in a jar, leave it out in the room temperature for, I would say, 2 days before putting it into the refrigerator. And that gets the fermentation process going, and by the time you get to it within a week or so, then it's going to be nicely fermented, and you're going to have that little, I wouldn't say as sour as sauerkraut, but you're going to be able to start tasting a little bit of that acidic taste. Anyway, so that's kimchi, and until next time, see you later.